Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Context is King. I'm Rebecca Brayton, and with me as always is CEO and founder of WatchMojo, Ashkan Karbasfrooshan, today to discuss entrepreneurs and insecurity. So you posted on LinkedIn about entrepreneurs being driven by insecurity. Is that true?
I think so to some extent. Insecurity, I would say, should not, first of all, be mistaken for uncertainty, for one. But I do think so. I think that ultimately, whether it's that we're trying to prove something to ourselves, or we are trying to prove something to others, or whether it's healthy sources of, insecurity or negative ones, I absolutely think that we are, driven by this desire to overcome things.
So what would you constitute as a positive source of insecurity and a negative insecurity?
So a negative is like, oh, I wasn't popular enough with the ladies, so I'm going to go make money, and then basically the ladies are going to love me. I think that's kind of boneheaded because you're going to attract very low quality women, whatever that means, and then you won't necessarily be happy. So that is probably a negative kind of source of insecurity. A good source of insecurity, so to speak, is, imagine if you've accomplished a lot. Now, success, I say is subjective, fluid, and relative. But let's say whether you're driven by wealth, or whether you're driven by success, or whether you're driven by having the respect of your peers. Let's say you accomplish a certain amount of success, however you define it, but you get to a point where you're like, you know what, I'm not really impacting society. I'm not helping education, I'm not helping health, I'm not helping, I'm not giving back to society really, apart from padding my bank account or people kind of thinking that I'm good at what I do. That could be positive because you want to give back, right? So it's not really, it could be a little bit vain, but it's like ego, right? A little bit of all those things are fine. So I think that is a good example of insecurity in that sense.
Do you think this is a healthy motivator? Is it always good to have a chip on your shoulder?
Well, look, if you talk to investors or if you talk to people who are out there to try to prove, to pick winners, whether it's athletes or entertainers or, or entrepreneurs, it may not be politically correct, and I wish it wasn't the case, but absolutely. Because at the end, you have to overcome. You have to get out of bed. You have to work hard. You have to be in the gym, or you have to, study the tape, or you have to, go in the arena, Churchill's line about you got to step into the arena. People are going to ridicule you. So yeah, I had a lot to prove when I started WatchMojo. I wanted to prove that I could start something from scratch and get it to some place. Ozzy Osbourne, my quintessential example in all videos. He got kicked out of Black Sabbath, and he went on to have an even more successful career solo than with that. So it may not be PC to say it, but I think if you basically are, we'll see. If I'm successful, great. If I had money to invest with an entrepreneur, I wouldn't invest in that guy or gal. I would invest in the person who's going to work really hard to try to ideally prove themselves, something to themselves and not to others. But even for others could be healthy. I think it's whenever you get above a certain level of ego or vanity, or if it's blind ambition, then it's bad. But I think that's normal, and I think anybody that doesn't recognize that, oh, you know what, Tom Brady's a good example. Tom Brady was picked in the 6th round. He had something to prove, right? He had something to prove that he was better than all the other quarterbacks that got drafted ahead of him, and all the other players that got, that he played against. So I absolutely think that it's just realistic to admit that that is a part of what drives people to be successful.
Do you think there are any other so-called negative characteristics that also serve entrepreneurs well?
Wow. Look, we are ultimately, I always love to kind of compare good, bad, evil, fear, greed. But look at the 7 virtues and the 7 vice. I break everything I kind of, in my lair, oops, did I admit that? No, so I think if you look at virtues and vice, you know what? Yeah, pride, a little bit is good, excess pride, hubris, bad. Just ask Macbeth, right? That's where it's always too much of a good thing is a bad thing. So yeah, a little bit of greed is good. I wish I was a bit more greedy in the greed is good Wall Street sense. I think mistakes I've done is not look at things through a greed lens, look at it a bit too altruistically, and I know the violin music in the background, but I'm just saying I think sometimes it's good to actually give in to those things that we associate only with bad, but a little bit of is actually good.
Thank you very much, Ash. Do you guys agree or disagree? Let us know in the comments, and be sure to check out the link below for more. See you next time.